Welcome to Animeconomy. Today, we're going to dive into a story. It's about heroes, disasters, and this hidden force that shapes our entire world, often in ways we just never see coming.
You know the story, right? We've all seen it play out. A crisis hits, a community is in agony, and a hero steps in with a bold plan to make things right. They declare that to help the people, essential goods have to be affordable for everyone. But then, a strange thing happens. The shelves go bare. The gas stations run completely dry. The very people we were trying to help are now left with nothing. So what gives? Why? Why does that noble path, the one paved with the absolute best intentions, so often lead straight to disaster?
Well, it's because we're caught in this epic struggle between two massive forces. On one side, you have the unyielding reality of economics. There is simply never enough of anything to satisfy everyone who wants it. But on the other side, you have the seductive promise of politics. This idea that we can just command reality to bend to our will. And that, right there, is the central conflict of our story.
All right, let's make this real. Imagine a hurricane is bearing down. Gasoline is absolutely critical. So to prevent so-called price gouging, the government steps in and mandates that gas can't be sold above its normal price. On the surface, that sounds totally fair, right? But what actually happens? Well, the first people who get to the pumps don't just take what they need to evacuate. They fill their tanks to the brim, they fill up gas cans, because hey, why not? The price is low. And so the entire supply is gone in hours. A doctor trying to get to the hospital, a family that hesitated, they arrived to find nothing but empty pumps. The attempt to control the price completely destroyed its most important function.
So, what is that function, really? What is this invisible force we keep messing with? Well, to understand that, we have to learn the secret language of the world, the language of prices.
Okay, and this right here, this reframes everything we think we know about prices. You see, a price isn't just some random number on a tag. It's a lightning-fast message. It's a super concentrated packet of knowledge. It carries information about supply, demand, scarcity, and value all across the globe in an instant. It's a language that everyone, everywhere understands, even if they don't consciously realize it.
And this is just a brilliant example of that language in action. I mean, think about it. A disaster strikes Florida, and suddenly there's a desperate need for lumber to rebuild homes. Nobody picks up the phone. Nobody sends an email to some lumberjack way out in Oregon. No central planner issues a command. Instead, the price of lumber just goes up everywhere. That lumberjack in Oregon, he just sees he can make more money cutting down trees, so he works overtime. He is responding to a desperate need thousands of miles away without ever knowing about the hurricane, without ever meeting the people he's helping. He's just reading the price.
What we're talking about here is a system that coordinates the actions of billions of people. It tells producers what we, the consumers, actually want, and it tells us which resources are getting scarce. It's like this organic global consciousness that moves resources around with breathtaking efficiency, all without a single person in charge of the whole thing.
And that, right there, brings us to the ultimate test, the final boss, if you will. If this automatic system works so well, why are we always so tempted to tear it down and replace it? Why do we believe we can do better? This is the great challenge of the knowledge problem.
It's such a tempting idea, isn't it? Almost heroic. The idea is, we'll just get the smartest people in a room, the best experts, the most compassionate leaders, and they will rationally design a perfect economy from the top down, eliminating waste and making sure everything is fair for everyone. It's the ultimate quest for control. It's the belief that pure human reason can conquer the chaos of the world.
But just how much knowledge are we talking about here? Let's try to wrap our heads around it. Start small. This number, over 40,000. That's roughly how many different, distinct items you'll find in just one single, average supermarket.
So the question is, could any single committee, no matter how brilliant, possibly know enough to manage all of that? I mean, think about it. How many avocados should be in a store in Dallas versus how many jars of pickles should be in Seattle? Think about the millions of moving parts, the farming, the weather patterns, the shipping routes, the truck fuel, the local tastes that change from day to day for every single one of those 40,000 items. And then multiply that by every single town and city. The amount of knowledge required is just, it's beyond human comprehension.
And look, this is the really crucial part. This isn't just some abstract theory. It was tried for decades. And this quote, this isn't from some critic of the Soviet Union. This is from two economists inside the system, admitting the fatal flaw. They had all the power, all the control.
the brightest minds they could find, and they discovered that reality is infinitely more complex than any master plan could ever be. It's a pretty powerful realization, isn't it? And hey, if this is changing how you see the world, help spread the knowledge by liking this video and sharing it with someone who needs this message.
Okay, so if a top-down master plan is basically doomed to fail, what's the alternative? Is it just chaos? No. It's a different kind of system, one that doesn't rely on a few brilliant minds, but instead harnesses the knowledge and the feedback from everyone. It's the engine of progress. That engine runs on two very simple and, yeah, kind of ruthless signals: profit and loss. And it's so important to remember, these aren't moral judgments about whether someone is a good person or a bad person. They are just impersonal, objective feedback. A profit is basically reality saying, hey, society values what you're doing with these scarce resources. Do more of that. A loss, on the other hand, is reality yelling, stop! You are wasting resources that someone else could use better. Change what you're doing or you're going to go out of business.
And get this feedback system means nobody, not even the giants, is safe. Back in the 19th century, Montgomery Ward was an unstoppable titan of retail. Then, Sears came along and innovated, did things better, and became an even bigger giant. But Montgomery Ward, they failed to keep up with the changing world, and in 2001 they just vanished. You see, in a market, power is always temporary. It has to be earned over and over again every single day by actually serving people.
So what's the fuel for this constant drive for efficiency? It really comes down to the power of ownership. A farmer who owns his own peaches doesn't need a government inspector to tell him to pull a rotten one out of the basket. He just does it, automatically, because if he doesn't, he's the one who feels the loss directly. Meanwhile, in the Soviet system, where no one owned the produce, reports were filled with stories of entire shipments being ruined because they were shipped so carelessly that a little spoilage spread and destroyed the whole lot. Property rights are powerful because they create self-monitoring. They align your own personal incentives with the needs of everyone else.
And so, here we are. We've arrived at the final choice. And this isn't really just about economics anymore. It's about the philosophy we choose to build our world on. It's about what we believe truly creates prosperity in the first place.
I mean, think about it. If wealth was just about having a bunch of natural resources, then countries like Venezuela should be the richest on earth, right? And places with almost no natural resources, like Switzerland or Japan, they should be poor. But what we see is the complete opposite. The actual income per person in Japan and Switzerland is many, many times higher than in Venezuela. And that tells us something incredibly profound.
Wealth isn't just a pile of stuff you dig out of the ground. It's created. It's forged from what economists call human capital: the knowledge, the skills, the experience, and the ingenuity locked away inside all of our minds. That is the ultimate resource. But it needs a system that allows it to be unlocked and used effectively.
And that leaves us with this fundamental choice, this fork in the road for how we see the world. Do we see our society as a machine, something to be tinkered with and engineered from the top down by some master planner? Or do we see it as a human ecosystem, something organic, incredibly complex, that can't be planned but that can be cultivated by giving people the freedom to connect, to experiment, to fail, and to find new ways to serve one another?
So in the end, we have to ask ourselves a really big question. What do we trust more? The grand vision of a few, or the scattered, distributed knowledge of millions? Do we bet on a hero's master plan, or on the everyday heroism of free people discovering their own way forward? The choice is ours. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to Animeconomy and check the link in the description to get the book.